Hello everyone, welcome to this video, and today's video is a little bit special because we are talking about advisors. So we are bringing to you top advice from international students on how to pick an advisor. Are you ready for this?
Yes, I am.
Nice. So to preface this, let me quickly go through an important data in the international student survey that we did. We asked them how they feel about their advisor, and 57% of them reported that their advisors make their life better, while 5% of them said, "My advisor sucks. He or she makes my life miserable." And about 18% of them said, "My advisor is a difficult person, but I believe they are pushing me to become a better version or the best version of myself." Now, when we asked them, "Do you believe your advisor cares about your work-life balance?" 55% of them said, "Yes, my advisor cares about my work-life balance." While about 13% said no, which is a little bit scary. Now, we are doing this video because we want you to be in the majority, right? Because choosing an advisor will be one of the most important decisions you would have to take in grad school. Your advisor will make or break your progress. So this video is here to educate you on some of the things you need to look at when you are selecting an advisor as an international student. But obviously, even domestic students can still learn from this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's get right into the comments. Do you want to go through the first one for us?
Yeah, listen, guys. This person said, get engaged with your advisor and know them better to understand their expectations from us as grad students. Match that to your preference on how you want to be managed. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think it's straightforward. You need to understand the expectations of the advisor. So during the interview stage, or for some of you that would have to rotate labs or research groups before you decide on an advisor, you have to ask them, what are their expectations of a student? And when you understand that, you need to know yourself as well. Is this something I can cope with? For example, if someone says you need to put in 80 hours a week, so you should consider everything, other thing that is going on in your life and see if you can cope with that kind of person. So that is important.
Yeah, I will also add that don't be scared to ask questions. This is what you'll be doing for the maybe 4 years, 5 years,
6.
You want
sometimes.
6 sometimes. You want to understand what you are going into. Most people are just like eager to get the admission and get started and just be in the system, but you get frustrated at the end of the day because you really don't understand what is expected of you. Please don't be carried away by whatever offer they are giving to you. Understand what you're expected to do, and then you are well prepared for the journey. So that's what I would say.
So if you're wondering about interviews or what to ask professors, we already made a video on that, so you can check that out here. It's going to display somewhere on the screen. You can check out the questions you should ask a professor before you join their labs. So let me go to the second comment. So this person said, make sure you are passionate about your advisor's area of specialization and just not interested because he or she has funding.
Yeah.
So I know most of us, international students, a lot of us just want to, because of what's going on in our home countries, we just want to live and develop ourselves. Of course, you might get funding, but you don't want to be trapped in someone's lab or research group just because of funding. You need to make sure you actually like what you are doing for the most part. But there are some situations where you just, go for it and the likeness might come later. But
Yeah.
if you can, you need to try to balance both your love for the research area and funding.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where your drive should come from.
Right.
Because, the journey might not be easy, but the drive is what will keep you going.
They expect
Be
you
sure
to
you
show the
love
same
it.
passion.
Yeah, they expect you to show the same passion. And when you are not doing so, you get frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, so please love what you want to do before you get into it.
Do you want to go to the next comment?
Yeah, I have here, this person said, find someone in line with your area of interest, just as we said earlier.
Yeah.
Someone with open mind, especially about international students. Someone who will care about your progress.
Right. So that's standard for any student, either international or domestic.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just maybe a little bit nicer if you can find someone who, was an international student like you.
Yeah.
So they tend to kind of understand what you are going through or what you're about to go through. And if they have been successful, they will try to guide you, on the path to success as well. But, as you will see in some other comment, you will see that this is a little bit controversial. As I can go to the next comment right now. Choose someone who has been in your shoes, that understands the struggle of grad school and grad life as an international student.
But if there are some professors that are, white, they're not, they were never international students, but they still understand international students because they've been advisors for a long time and they've been advisors to international students, and they know how they feel, and they've helped international students, a lot of them, achieve their goals. So I would say that is a little bit controversial.
I don't think
so that is what I would
having
say.
Someone who was an international student is the most important thing you need to look out for. But this is this person's experience, right? So I didn't want to discount that. So, but in my experience, of course, I had an advisor who was an international student who she's the sweetest person you can ever meet.
Yeah.
But I know of a lot of other people, right? A lot of other advisors that are white and are always very embracing of international students.
Yeah. Like my advisor is white and is so open to having international students, because we had 3 international students when I was
with him,
when I was a student. So just understand your professor and make sure your professor is ready to meet you at that point of your need.
Right. So you want to go to the next comment?
Yeah, the next comment says, try your best to avoid international professors. But if that's who you have, deal with it.
That's funny, because we were still in support of the previous comment that said you should look for someone who was an international student, right? But I honestly, I don't agree with that person, but I can understand, because I've seen cases where professors who were international students, they understand that you are sort of running away from where we came from, right? So I know that no matter what I do, you have no choice than to accept it.
I know.
There are some. So I don't think it's because of them understanding our struggles, but I think it's because that person is just a horrible person naturally. So I don't think it's just, I think it's based on the personality of the person.
Just like the professor you talked about, about that guy.
That guy, right?
Yeah. One of the students that he's been trying to mentor and all of that. The professor sent emails, to sort of, I would say threaten, because I wouldn't know what he's trying to do. He's just trying to threaten him.
Put
a lot of load even before he gets in.
Before he got in,
there's a lot of things he has to do before he even gets the funding or whatever. So that has to do with just personality.
I think
that's what I'll say. You just want to watch and be sure of what you are getting into. irrespective of whether
They were
they're
international
international
students
students or not. So
Yeah, I
like,
actually know of two cases like that, so I can understand where they are coming from.
yeah.
But like I said, my professor was an international student too, so she understands. So it's just the personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the guy you are talking about, the professor sent him emails and like projects to work on, and you are even still in your country. He was still in his country,
Yeah.
but because you've given me admission and
He has not even given the funding. Like
Yeah,
a lot of project that he has to do before
Uh-huh.
coming
And he said
before grabbing
your funding is dependent on you
Exactly.
finishing that.
Yeah.
I just told him like this is
It's a
probably
no-go.
going to be a toxic environment for you.
Exactly.
And thankfully he when he was applying, he applied to more than one school, so he got 2 offers.
Exactly.
So he just had to let that person go. So
yeah.
I was happy that he had that opportunity. So things like that, you have to kind of be able to read in between the lines when you are applying and interviewing for this position in their labs. All right, the next comment: my research interest led me to a bad advisor. Do not restrict yourself to one research interest. Changing advisors gives you more enemies within the same department.
Absolutely.
So this speaks to the importance of getting it right at the beginning. So I can understand what this person is saying. If of course, you have the right to change advisors during your studies, but you are changing from one person to another person within the same department, and the first person may have more power. There's still this subtle politics going on in some departments too. So it's not always a good look. Let me just put it like that.
This person says, pray.
Religious
Good
people.
advisors are from God.
Yes.
Because a professor's publication or lab may not be reflective of their interpersonal relationships. Also, ask all students questions about your prospective advisor. It really helps. Try to interact with your prospective professor via emails, phone calls, and video meetings. It could tell you tips about the professor's personality.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's important. Before you step on campus, you need to interview students in the department. Both students that are working directly with the professor and even those that are not working directly with the professor. Just ask them about, what they think of working with this person.
Yeah, you can always find their contacts maybe somewhere within the website of the department.
Sometimes you see it.
So,
sometimes you can just go on LinkedIn and search.
Exactly.
People in the department. Then you can ask that person, do you have any contact of someone working with professor so
exactly.
The person will link you up with that person.
Yeah, you should please do that.
But any serious professor would even give you the contact of his or her students to talk to them during the interview process. That's usually the norm, at least for the interviews I've seen and I've heard of. Whenever the professor is satisfied with your interview with him or her, then they try to connect you with their students to talk about the professor and also living in the environment and because there are a lot of things you want to know before you.
I would also want to say that you can ask the professor of contacts of any of his students. Because you might just say, okay, I want to connect with the person and know he or she better before I resume.
Right.
Yeah, you might not say you want to ask about the professor, but like just to make connections before you finally arrive on campus and you end up asking about the professor. It's just for your own good.
Yeah. So the science that you're going to do or the research you're going to do as a grad student will determine if you will graduate. But the relationship you have will determine how well you graduate.
I know.
You want to graduate intact with your mental health intact, right? So the research determines how good or when you will graduate or if you will graduate.
Yeah.
But the relationships you build with the professors and the students in the department will determine how well.
Yeah, because I heard of a story where a student graduated well, but was seeking for a job, and the professor gave him bad recommendation,
Yeah,
and he
so
lost the job. So you don't want to make relationship with toxic people,
right.
people that
So
will jeopardize your future. So
and your
please,
advisor will be very important in that next step,
in
either
that
getting
next
a
step,
job or
exactly,
going for another degree or something. So relationships matter.
exactly.
So yeah, and it's good to know that right from the start. Let's
Yeah.
move on to the next comment. All right?
Yeah, let's go.
Now the second to last comment here says the best advisor isn't necessarily the most renowned advisor. Speak to older graduate students who can give you a candid information about the mentoring capabilities of your prospective advisor.
Yeah.
So it still falls back to what we said earlier about asking questions from students.
Yeah.
If there's a way you can even find out people that weren't successful in the professor's lab and ask them questions about why. You
Yeah.
can ask other students that, like, have there been anyone who dropped
failed,
out of the lab, of the research group? I always say lab because I'm a scientist and all that. But are there any students who didn't graduate with this person? You know, you want to understand why, because if you and that person have the same qualities and something, it might end up, you might end up having that same problem, you know? So apart from looking at current students, you ask about potential failures and even successes. Of course, you want to use good examples, right? Successful students, and also people that didn't finish, and you want to try to understand why. I'm not saying that because you should use that to determine if you won't be with that professor, but to understand, you know, the environment and how well you can cope in the environment,
and what you need to do to avoid, dropping out. So
exactly.
it's very important.
So you want to go to the last comment.
The last comment I have here is, this person said, this is always a tricky question.
Right.
But it would be helpful to reach out to 3 current students for their opinion. Depending on the field, publications might be opposite. Finally, ask about their last 5 past students and where and what they are doing now.
Right.
Take all this together. This might help you to make a decision.
Right. So that's a very good comment, because you want to understand what previous students have gone on to achieve after leaving their lab, that particular lab. So that gives you an indication of how influential that person is, because you need that influence a little bit as well. But you just have to be careful, because there are a lot of professors that are just starting up, right? As assistant professors who do not have a strong track record of mentoring. So that's why you need to ask a lot of questions, even from that kind of professor, about expectations. Like I said, the video I put up on questions you need to ask a professor is very important to understand these expectations. So you can ask these professors good questions before you sign up for that funding. I know funding can be nice, but that's like even the one of the least important things when it comes to grad school. So those are the top comments when it comes to picking an advisor that we obtained from international students, from our international student survey. And if you are new to this international student survey series, you can check out the demographics if you're interested on our Instagram page.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you find it interesting and helpful, and share to your loved ones. Look out for other videos about funding, admissions, and surviving as a grad student. Until we see you next time, bye.
Peace.